Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Underhood Show. My name's Josh Profit, and I'm the service director here at Mel Hamilton Ford. Alongside me today, I got a special guest with me, Ryan Smith with
Hello.
BG Products. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Man, I appreciate you being here today, and we have got a plethora of stuff to talk about today.
Yes, we do.
So sit back, relax, but hey, call in. This is a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us. And if you want to talk about anything automotive, new vehicle products, service maintenance intervals, talk about BG. We got a lot of point of topics there as well. So you guys have really got some big news here lately that
Yes.
has launched and I think is kicked off very well. And
Yes.
so we're going to discuss some of that today as well. But hey, 316-462-3673. That's the number to jump on the air here with us and get your questions answered. And for each and every caller that calls in, we send out a prize package valued at over $130 in money, but it consists of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here with us at Mel Hamilton Ford. While we're performing that, we're going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related items that makes that car go. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen that has all the benefits that nitrogen has to offer for your tires. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So again, good morning, Ryan. So Ryan, tell our listeners how long you've been with BG, what your role is with BG, and all of that stuff.
Of course. So I've been with BG Products for just going on 9 years here. I think it'll be 9 in January, and we have a lot of new programs in the works here with Ford Motorcraft specifically. Since we are a Ford dealer, I do enjoy talking about that. I'm a Ford guy myself, and I've always loved Fords. You know, my dad used to say he bleeds Ford blue. And when he used to wrench on Fords, he'd come home and he'd bring me and my brother a little June bug in a Fomoco oil filter box.
Oh yeah,
And we'd enjoy shaking it and hearing it buzz. And
yeah.
so Ford through and through, and also BG through and through. Got BG in the blood.
Yeah. So what got you, I guess, kind of in the automotive industry? You know, you talked about your dad. I guess he was a technician, correct?
Yes.
For many years.
Technician, shop foreman, all the way up to a parts and service director for a very large Ford store in Southern California. And so I got into the automotive industry playing with Matchbox cars on my dad's toolbox.
Yeah.
Making him drift on the top, and then playing with his tools, and you know, nothing makes a technician madder than messing with his tools.
Well, so here's my thing, and I've got a couple kids now, and they're starting to get to that age. You know, they want to fix stuff, work on their bikes, make things. You know, this doesn't work, and I want to make it work, type deal.
Yes.
And I'm for it all day long.
Yeah.
You know, hey, take something apart, figure out how it works. You know, stuff like that. I'm all for. But the last part of that is getting the tools back in the box where you got them from. I don't if you as long as you make that step, we're good. If you don't make that step, then I'm at probably a 10 of a 10. So yeah, there is as a technician, man, just being organized, and things would be chaos throughout the day, but always at the end of the day, it was always clean up your tools, get them back where they belong, so that you knew where they were at the next day for sure. And so, where I was headed with that, you never lost any of your dad's tools, though, right?
No, never lost any.
He would tell. Would he tell the same story?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
There's always another side of that story.
There is, yes.
But yeah, I instilled in me at a very young age that you know, you always ask a technician permission for his tools, and I because that's their livelihood, and they're so invested in their tools, and you know, whenever I do a BG demo, sometimes I do have to borrow a tool,
Yeah.
and I always ask permission
Sure.
politely. Hey, do you mind if I borrow this? I'll bring it right back. I'll clean it and I'll put it right back where I found it. And that
Yeah.
always seems to work. Even the honoriest of technicians will still lend me a wrench. But the new Ford Motorcraft BG Products partnership. Um, Wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
So obviously you guys do that service package for people that call into this show.
Mhm.
BG44K, we all know it, we all love it. It has been a staple, a flagship product of ours for the past 50 years. Um, and it hasn't changed, but there's
Well,
been a label.
yeah. So a label change, right?
Hmm.
So this was your previous 44K can. Now, when you say it hasn't changed
Yes.
uh, as far as the purpose of the 44K and
Yes.
what the intent is and what you're trying to fix in a vehicle
Right.
necessarily hasn't changed.
Hmm.
The product itself over the generation has revolved or
Correct. Correct.
changed a lot
Mhm.
throughout its life.
Yes.
We had the 44K, then we went to the Platinum 44K.
Yes.
I'm sure there
Yes.
was some other versions in there that I've forgot about as well.
It used to say power enhancer on the side
Yes,
back in the day.
it did. I
And
do remember that.
every time they make a formula change, they typically do a label change. But this is the strongest that 44K has ever been
Uh-huh.
as a platinum label. And so to be able to put that platinum product into a can with a red and black Motorcraft OEM label on it. And just in case you're curious, on the back of the can, it does say manufactured by BG Products. If you hadn't already recognized that good old
The
classic BG can,
the VG,
Mhm.
can. So
packaged, created, labeled, and shipped all by BG Products. So it's an exclusive partnership. Nobody else carries this.
which is huge
Mhm.
for a manufacturer to pick it up, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like to be able to convince somebody with I guess the research and development that they have
Mhm.
and the stature behind it and know that whatever product they have to endorse has to span generations, right?
Right. Right. Yes.
And all sorts of different model lines, all sorts of different just the way uh consumers use the product, use
Yes.
their vehicle, the
Hmm.
driving conditions
Yes.
um, that they drive the vehicles in, and to be able to endorse a product like that is huge,
Right.
absolutely huge. And so this is it's pretty new. I think this started. Don't quote me on the exact date, but I think it was August or
That's right.
when was it?
August
Yeah,
5th.
August
Yes.
5th
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
when you guys launched with Ford
Yes.
on these products, um, and for you guys it's huge as well.
Right.
Just to be able to get that endorsement, that's got to be like a hey pat on the back. You're doing the right things.
Yes. Absolutely.
There's a lot of just in the automotive industry itself. There's a lot of um, I guess negative publicity or black eyes when it
Right.
comes to repair facilities on customers' experiences.
Yes.
And you can you don't have to go very far to hear horror story of an
Hmm.
auto repair that went wrong,
Yes.
or somebody tried to sell me something that I didn't need, or
Right.
especially when it comes to the fluid products like this or fluid exchanges like this of snake oil.
Oh, I
You've
heard
heard
that.
that
Yes.
a
Yes.
million times
Hmm.
before, and to a consumer, it's got to be overwhelming, not knowing really anything on the automotive side of things, but then
Yes.
also going to even just a local parts house or a Walmart or
Hmm.
something, and you stand there and you look at these rows and rows of products and
Yes.
shelves,
Yes.
and it's like, okay, what do I buy? What
Right.
what really works? What really doesn't work? Um, and so, you know, when I BG products like it's going to be in a professional environment,
Correct.
right? You're not
Correct.
going to be able to go somewhere and just pick that up.
That is correct.
this is like an industrial type cleaner
Yes.
for your vehicle.
And you have to use goggles, gloves, and long sleeves when you're using it, because if you get it on your clothes, you'll stink for a week. Yeah. So this professional use product, only get it at Motorcraft dealerships. It is not sold anywhere else. So very, very exclusive product, but the best product, and we can say that with confidence. Just due to the amount of detergency additives that are present in Ford Motorcraft BG44K. So when I'm looking at that wall of cleaners in the parts department,
Yep.
or auto parts house, I should say, I think I count over 30 different fuel system cleaners, and they range from
Couple bucks.
couple bucks to maybe 20, maybe 25. This product outperforms any other product in its circuit
Yeah.
every single time. Um, and we test this obviously with an American standardized test method of a titration test. You can titrate a fuel to tell exactly how much detergency is present in it. And every single time I titrate 44K, it's always a fun demonstration for the technicians and folks to see. And it instills that belief that
Yeah.
that not only does the BG product work like they say it does, but I've gotten to see it, and I've seen the proof. So
Well, and that's where, BG does a phenomenal job of their research and development to make sure that the product that they're selling you is going to do exactly what they say it does.
right.
So here is kind of one of your guys's
Mhm.
flyers, and again, the manufacturer um, has published this out as well.
Yes.
But essentially, it's a pour-in chemical. This is your features and benefits here. But then I wanted to talk a little bit about this product in the
Yes.
sense that, so here's a couple of before and after pictures of an injector. With today's vehicles,
Right.
you're spraying fuel straight into the combustion chamber.
Correct.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is what injector is susceptible to in that environment,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Um, and the thing about this product is it's not a when you pour it in or dump it in, like it's not doing the job right then and there. So
Correct.
talk about that and
Yeah.
kind of what
Absolutely.
as a consumer the process or how
Of
long this
course.
is going to take to go from this before picture to
To
this
the
after
after.
picture.
Yes. And I'll tell you, when they took these pictures, there is a time frame before these pictures. I mean, between these pictures. So that is after a tank of
Of
fuel,
fuel.
a full tank of fuel. So they had to drive the car and then boroscope, tear down, and take more pictures. So 44K, what separates it not just from the strength, but what separates it from the technology that you see on the shelves these days. That couple bucks cleaner, that the snake spit that you bought
Yeah.
at the
Uh-huh.
O'Reilly's or the AutoZone or something like that. It's more of a surfactant cleaner, so it'll clean the root surface. It'll send that carbon off in an abrasive manner. Um, so it's
So it
cleaning.
chunks it.
Yeah,
Basically, it comes off in a chunk.
right. That cheaper product is cleaning like they say it does, but not safely and effectively. The way 44K works is it's a dispersant cleaner, so it'll disperse the molecule of paraffin uh, and wash it away in a soot style form. So nice, safe, effective, not going to clog anything. Keep your catalytic converter safe,
Well,
and
that's
like you
yeah,
said,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So
cleans
now
as you drive.
it comes off in a chunk. Where
Mm,
does that chunk go?
yeah, we don't want to know.
Yeah, so the chunk will end up in the converter,
Right.
essentially, and
Hmm.
the exhaust converter. So it's basically like a honeycomb or a
Right.
screen,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so it'll sit on that screen, but then guess what? It gets hot down there,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then
Then it cooks.
then it cooks,
Uh-huh.
and then when it cooks, you potentially could damage the honeycomb in the converter, and
Yes.
then a $10 or $15 product
Mhm.
now cost you a converter,
Right,
right?
which is expensive.
Which now you can get into, a
Mhm.
thousand, $1,500 pretty
Mhm.
easy on an exhaust converter.
Yes,
So
yes.
the fact that it dissolves this particles
Mhm.
in a manner that makes it safe for the vehicle is
Right.
huge, right?
Right.
So
And we've had a lot of customers that we've talked to over the years, that say, "Hey, I know BG, I love BG, but I'm a diehard Ford guy. I'm a FOMO till I die, Ford Motorcraft." Folks that they won't put a Duralast battery in their truck. They say, "I
yeah,
want the best. I want Ford Motorcraft in my truck." And now with this beautiful partnership, we can deliver this um, excellent maintenance in a Motorcraft product. So folks can actually purchase this with their Ford Pass points.
yeah,
So your Ford Pass points in your app, you can buy a can of Motorcraft 44K here at Mel Hambleton Ford with your oil change. And the interval on this product, this is coming straight from Ford Motorcraft, is every oil change. So every oil change interval, it is, think of it like a keep clean product. Um, Think of it like brushing and flossing your teeth every day to avoid that cavity.
yeah,
And so
yep.
that's why it's so important to run that fuel system cleaner every single oil change, is because not only is the technology in that truck or car more advanced than it's ever been, but fuel technology is lacking these days.
Yeah. So what I would point out, I'll pull this picture back up here, and what I wanted to talk about, I guess, a little bit more is,
Hmm.
and I think I could probably even let's do this. No, that didn't do it. I think I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at these deposits right here, and let's talk about this for just a little bit, right?
Yes.
So the different design of the engine
Hmm.
compared to years ago, and the low compression piston rings, play a huge part in this. The
Right.
the fact that we're doing direct injected plays a huge part in this,
Hmm.
as far as how these deposits get here.
Yeah.
But one of the main factors in something like this, that somebody that's designing or building or engineering an engine,
Right.
right, that they cannot take into consideration, is all the different quality levels of fuel that you're going to be running throughout the life of this engine, right?
Yes.
So you say, okay, hey, the service interval for this 44K can is every 5,000 miles. But even just thinking about that, I'm thinking as a consumer, in 5,000 miles, how many times did I fill my tank up?
Yes.
At how many different fuel stations?
Yes.
And what was the quality level of fuel at each one
Hmm.
of those stations,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So as a manufacturer, a person that designs an engine or makes an engine, or produces that deal, like, you have all these variables that you have zero control over,
Yes.
and to be able to ensure that this lasts and runs like it needs to and does what
Right.
it needs to.
Right.
Because I mean, let's face it, right? These a fuel manufacturer, what what are they going to do when they're manufacturing their fuel? What are they looking at? They're looking at the profit lines at the
Yes.
bottom of the day,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, how do I get from where I am
Yeah.
to get a product on the shelf?
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to get it as cheap as possible,
Yes.
and
Yes.
manufacture it as much as I can. And so,
Yeah.
they're not looking out for putting out the best quality fuel ever, right? They're just
Right.
looking about
Right.
getting a product out to market that people can use.
And how many times have you seen a gas station on the left side of the street, and then there's a gas station right across the street, and they're competing? One guy will lower his price 10 cents per gallon, and then the very next day, now
Yeah,
now the Quick Trip lowered his price 10 cents a gallon. And so like you said, it's that constant competition of who has the cheapest product. I don't play that competition.
well,
you know.
and yeah, how do you make it cheaper? Well, something's got to give, right?
Right.
We don't
Yes.
I can't just do the exact same thing and
Absolutely.
make it cheaper. Like, that's not good business.
Ford Motorcraft in the owner's manual, it talks a little bit about the types of fuel that you should use in your pickup truck, like an EcoBoost or something like that. It's obviously you can use 87, but it's recommended to use a premium fuel or a top tier detergency fuel whenever available.
I thought,
Um,
yeah,
yes.
no, go ahead, go
So
ahead.
so I'm a reader. I
Okay.
read my entire owner's manual. It's my Ford Bible, and
You
so
are the first person that I've talked about that probably has ever. I don't can't tell you how many vehicles that I've got in. So Phil and I,
right,
we walk the trades pretty much every day,
yeah,
out out on the lot, and just been in a lot of different vehicles.
right.
Some decades old, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And you can just about get in every car, look in the glove box, and the owner's manual is brand new, still
Still in
in
the
the
plastic.
cellophane.
Yes. Yes.
And you know that that owner has had probably 15 or 20 questions throughout the life of ownership, that the answer to that owner's or their question was in that owner's manual, or there was a feature or function about that vehicle that they
Mhm.
had no knowledge of or knew
Mhm.
anything about, and the spine has never been cracked on that
Wow.
owner's manual.
Oh
So
my goodness.
so you're the first person that I've heard that I'm going to read the owner's manual
I'm going to
from
read the
front to
owner's
back.
manual.
So
I need to know.
yeah,
And so in the owner's manual, it talks about using a top tier detergency fuel whenever present. So my curious mind goes to Google, and I searched top tier gasoline locations in the state of Kansas. It doesn't exist. Kansas State, the state of Kansas, does not have top tier fuel available anymore. So Kansas is a dump state, a fuel dump state. So we get all of our fuel here in the state of Kansas from neighboring states that no longer want to sell their fuel. So Texas and Oklahoma have a 2-year span
like a shelf life.
shelf life of
Okay.
their fuel. That's how much fuel stability is left. 2 years. If it's older than 2 years, by law they cannot sell it to consumers. But do you know who can buy that 2-year-old fuel?
That'd be us.
Kansas, because
Yeah.
Kansas law says 4 years for fuel stability. So we get 2 extra years out of that old fuel. So when we're buying fuel at the pump, you may already be buying
Old
old
fuel.
fuel.
Yeah. Which is absolutely huge for sure.
Mhm.
You know, and talk about okay, top tier fuel.
Yes.
From that aspect, I was traveling.
Yeah.
I was trying to even think of where I was at. I'm pretty sure I was in Iowa, and I was coming back. It was either Iowa or Illinois, but I
Uh-huh.
pulled up at a fuel station,
Yeah.
and there was, I'm gonna say, if there wasn't 7 different fuel options
Wow.
up there.
Oh my goodness.
And as a consumer, how do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
what do you
just thinking to
choose?
myself, like, somebody pulling up that
Mhm.
is not, automotive, doesn't have an automotive background or any
Yes.
knowledge to that. Like, as a consumer,
Mhm.
how do you know what to put in? There was so many different options, from
Right.
ethanol to non-ethanol to,
Right.
the top tier, and then the
Yes.
different levels in each one of those. And I'm gonna say there was 7 different fuel selections or options up there.
Right.
And here's what I don't like about that, is
Yes.
because I think from a consumer standpoint, and I hear people say this quite a bit, is okay, so I'm driving along and I feel my car stumble,
Mhm.
right? Or it doesn't seem to be driving quite right, or I don't have
Right.
the performance out of it, or it's not idling as smooth as it once
Mhm.
was. And
Mhm.
you pull up to a fuel station like that there's 7 different options on it. What's that consumer's first natural reaction to do? Right?
Whatever's
Well,
cheapest.
I'm going to put a little bit better grade of fuel in it, and I'll make it run better, right?
There you
Well,
go.
a or a little more expensive fuel, which typically means a higher octane
Right.
boost.
Right.
But that vehicle is probably not designed to run a higher octane boost, right?
Yes.
And in some
Yes.
cases, you can make this situation worse on the
Mhm.
carbon deposits
Absolutely.
by putting the wrong octane of fuel in there. And so, but I've heard that many times over and over in this
Yes.
industry of, well, I just put a little bit higher octane in it.
Premium fuel, that
Yep.
91, 92, 93 octane premium. So premium, higher octane fuel must mean more detergency, right?
No.
But no, it does not. No, it does not. And I've tested. I've been the crazy mad scientist at the gas station in my BG lab coat, and I've had my 3 different gas cans. I look like a crazy man, and I'll take 87, 89, 91, and I'll get a sample of each, and I'll go home and test them
Uh-huh.
because I need to know.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of guy. I need
want
to
to
know.
know.
Yes, exactly. And I'll tell you, there is no difference. You're absolutely right.
So the where I guess this conversation
Mhm.
was leading to or headed to is
Yes.
just as a manufacturer or making this engine, out there, you have this uncontrollable aspect of it
Yes.
that you've got to help your vehicle,
Yes,
right? And that's where
absolutely.
this product comes into play.
Mhm.
We need to probably do the math and figure out kind of mileage wise, in 5,000 miles, how many gallons of gas have you gone through?
Wow, I'd say about on average, maybe 6 tanks.
Yeah.
And if you have let's just say an average of a 20
Yeah, I
gallon
would say
tank,
6, 7 tanks, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
that's a
So
lot of
it
fuel.
is a lot of fuel, right?
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Some good,
from
some
that
bad, some
perspective.
old.
Yes. Yeah. Some really old. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then when you're not even talking about the moisture content of it
Right.
or anything
Right.
along those lines either. So
Moisture content. That's a subject in itself. Moisture content.
all by itself.
Yeah. Ethanol blended fuels attracts moisture into the fuel. Water's more dense than gasoline, so it sinks to the bottom of the tank. And then when you go to fill up your vehicle, that water sinks to the bottom of your fuel tank, and that's right where the fuel pump's at. So it can cause all kinds of different types of fuel corrosion and such. So if you're running an ethanol blended fuel, which majority of Kansas gasoline is ethanol blended, ethanol is it's good for the fuel in the sake that it's better for the environment, better burn, cleaner burn for the environment. So ethanol is necessary in that aspect. But as far as cleanliness in the engine, that is where we're going to get gums
Well,
and deposits.
okay, so we can even talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
too. Is that I don't mind helping the environment, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
just know that if you're going to do that,
Yes.
there's a cause and effect. So you've got
Mhm.
to maintain that vehicle just a little bit differently in
Right.
order to ensure the longevity of it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, and there's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with running ethanol fuel. It's
Sure.
just the maintenance intervals on the vehicle needs to be modified to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was at a gas station the other day, and I won't say the name, but it said that the cheapest fuel that it offered was a 93 octane, and the most expensive fuel that they offered was a standard 87. And my brain went haywire. I thought, why would a premium fuel cost less? And looking down at the bottom of the pump, and I actually took a picture of it on my phone, says that the 93 octane, the super premium, had 30% ethanol.
In it.
Our
Yep.
vehicles are only designed to run on 10%
10%.
max.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
says that in my owner's manual. It says 10% max. So that would bring me right here to the repair facility if I filled my tank with that. And so it's sad that some folks don't know
But as a
about this.
consumer,
Yeah.
again, pulling up to the
Mhm,
pump, like,
mhm.
well,
What am I gonna
gas is expensive.
let's and
It's
and
here,
yep, I need to
right?
run some premium and it's even cheaper. I'm sold.
I'm hooked.
Do your research.
Yes, yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Hey, this is a call-in show, 316-462-3673. That's a number to jump on the air here with us. You want to talk about anything automotive, BG products. Again, thank you very much, Ryan, for coming and visiting with us today about the BG products. Got a couple of people on the chat line. We got Delbert with us. So good morning, Delbert. Says, good morning, Ryan. Welcome to the show. Love BG products. Get them in the vehicle when I get my oil changed. Love BG products. Thank you for the comments there.
Thank you.
And Tony says, great job, Ryan. So you got a fan.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Mr. Tony, thank you.
And Tia.
Oh, that I know her.
Yeah, you
She
do, huh?
looks familiar.
Yeah, very good.
Rowan, that's my son.
Well,
He says hi, Dad.
he's got to see you on TV this morning.
Yes, he did.
Very good, very good. Well, hey, thank you, Tia, for letting let me borrow Ryan for this morning. And I said, you got another one on the way, right?
Yes, yes.
Right around the corner.
Mhm.
And so, just so it sounds like you're listening. So I want to just clarify here. I did tell Ryan. I said, hey, I'm not looking to stand between a pregnant lady and her husband. So if this doesn't work, it's no big deal. But thank you for letting me borrow Ryan. It's always fun hanging out with him and talking about BG and just automotive in general. So, so we've kind of covered 44K. Unless there's something else that you have or that you wanted to visit about that. Let's move on to okay. So now the second product that Ford has endorsed. I'll get out of this here if I can drive the ship here.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll go back to the second product, which is going to pop up here. I think. One more. Okay. And I'll get this up on the screen.
There it is.
So let's talk about the fuel system kit, fuel
Yes.
maintenance system kit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. So the Ford Motorcraft BG Fuel System Maintenance Kit, also known as a fuel/air induction service. This service, what this is this is the major service. You think of the 44K as the minor. You know,
Okay.
we did the 44K every oil change. Now that I'm 3 oil changes in, now what service do I perform at that 15,000 mile mark? We're going to want to perform the fuel air induction service. So what this does is it cleans the way that the car takes in fuel and air. So the word induction means to take in.
Okay.
So if I breathe, I'm inducting air. Or you ever heard of the Hall of Fame induction? It's when they are getting induced into taken into the Hall of Fame. And so a vehicle runs on a stoichiometric ratio of 14,000 gallons of air to 1 gallon of fuel.
Okay.
So it breathes a lot and then it burns a little bit of fuel. You mess with that ratio a little bit, if you're taking in too much air or not enough air, all of a sudden that balance and that burn is thrown off. And that's when we start to feel that sluggishness, that hesitation, maybe even a decrease in fuel economy. For those of us that are tracking that, or maybe checking the fuel economy counter on the vehicle. And so this service is going to clean the throttle plate. It's going to clean the intake plenum. It's going to clean the combustion chamber, and it's also going to clean the fuel side. So this is more of your major service, your 15,000 mile service. Being that it is a GDI motor, like you were saying earlier, those injectors are placed directly in the combustion chamber, so they're facing the fire.
Uh-huh.
The second that combustion stroke happens, that flame is hitting the tip of the injector, the pintle of that injector, and think of it like a shower head getting clogged up. Right? I know here in the state of Kansas, we got hard water deposits if you don't have that water softener installed in your house. And you get those white little crystals on the shower head, right? So it's the same way with your fuel injectors. If you're running a low quality fuel or not a top tier detergency fuel, you're going to get these types of deposits. And so we do have to clean that fuel side once again. So the 44K is a part of the induction service. It's actually packaged right there in the middle. But this service, the vehicle is revved to about 3,500 RPM 3 times every 45 seconds, and then we're allowing that chemistry to wash through the engine and to use that dispersant chemical to dissipate that carbon out in a safe and effective manner. So you should feel a little bit more pep in your step anytime you get a fuel air induction service. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
It's the seat of the pants deal.
Absolutely. Right? We have customers call all the time, and I know that you guys do too.
Yeah.
What did you do to my car? It's never ran like this before. Well, we didn't add any horsepower, but we simply restored the horsepower to factory settings. We hit the reset button on it. So if you just bought a car and you want to get that new car feeling out of it, get an induction service.
So I always coordinate these products with I think people can commonly relate to, somebody with allergies or asthma or
yes,
something like
yes.
that. Man, I can't breathe. I just I've got a restriction, right?
Right.
And then next day, you take some allergy medicine, and the next day, man, you can breathe so much better. Or if you're asthma and take a shot of an inhaler and it opens things up, and it's like just a night and day difference. That's this product.
That's that Nasonex.
Yeah,
that nasal spray, right?
What's
that little commercial with the bee?
Well, and I see the commercial. I don't even know what the name of the product is, but where they flush like gallons of water through your nostril.
Whoa.
I don't know that I could do that, but I have seen that before.
That's the nose induction service.
The nose induction service to
clean
it all out. But I'm not sure I could. I'm not sure I could do that.
The nose flush. Perfect.
But that's what I view this product to be like, or to talk to consumers so that they have a way to relate to what this is doing.
Right. Absolutely.
And so, this is another huge deal. And what was the manufacturer service interval again on this?
It was every third oil change, every 15,000 miles.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. And, think of that. So when I think of driving 15,000 miles, I'm like, people drive a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty frequently, a
Right.
once a year service type
Right.
deal.
Right.
But then when you put it back in the terms like what we did with the 44K and the 5,000 miles is, how many tanks of fuel is that? How much air has that vehicle
Yes.
ingested in that
Yes.
amount of time?
Wow.
And you're talking a lot,
Wow.
and going back to fuel quantity or quality at all the different stations that
Hmm.
you've got it and what that looks like. Uh, there's a lot of variables that go into that. And
Yes.
so for us, yeah, we drive a lot and 15,000 miles is an annual service, but it's really not it's a lot of fuel in that amount of time.
And I look at the induction service. I mean, like you said, every 15,000 miles, majority consumer drives about 10,000 miles a year,
Mhm.
10 to 15, depending on, how far your commute is and whatnot to work. But um, I think of this as cheap insurance
Very much so. Yeah, very much so.
because the price that you pay for an induction service, the value that you're getting exceeds the price. And the price of having to repair that vehicle, repair those injectors, repair those intake valves, it can get very, very expensive. And so we want to keep our cars as long as we can and keep them in good health.
Very much so. Hey, we've got a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone and talk to Steve. Steve, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I've got a son-in-law that has a 2016 Ford F-150, and it's V8. Excuse me. And he took it to the auto parts store because it was missing and
Mhm.
stumbling and wouldn't run very good at all. And they sold him a coil pack and a spark plug. And he came over and we put it in, and it didn't fix it. And do those meters or testers that they have, does it tell you what's really going on and what you need to replace, or does it just say like number two cylinder is missing?
That's a great question. So if a manufacturer or a diagnostic company could invent a tool that would read out what's wrong with the vehicle, um, that's that is 100% not the case. So what it is giving or what it's reading is what they call a diagnostic trouble code. And so basically that gives you an area of idea as to what's going on. But then from that, you have to follow what they call a diagnostic flow chart or a trouble chart for that specific code. And that's going to be a myriad of steps depending upon the complexity of the system and everything like that. I mean, there may be just in your particular situation. I'm assuming it had a P0302 or whatever specific cylinder. So 300 is a misfire, 301 is cylinder one misfire, and then 2 is cylinder 2 misfire, and so on and so on. But even in that case, I mean, there's the injector, there's compression, there's the spark, there's, is it a fuel injector? Is it, there's so many different other things that could cause that cylinder to not produce the compression that it needs to equalize out in a cylinder balance test. So that's basically the engine that says, "Hey, when I'm supposed to be seeing this, I'm seeing this, and that's not right." But the equation as to what's missing to make it be that, yeah, there's not a scan tool out there that can just read that and tell you what that is. Going to a parts house to have them, read that code. Yeah, it can get you pointed in the right direction, but also what I want you to understand is the parts house is there to sell you parts, right? And so
Right.
I can give you a hint in the right direction, and I can sell you all these parts to do whatever it is you want to do at that point. But to truly diagnose that vehicle is what it needs to figure out exactly what's going on with it. And I do they can give you a degree of accuracy. In other words, um, out of this code, the majority of time, this is what fixes that, and it's kind of like a guess, so to speak. But there's no replacement for completing a complete diagnosis on something like that, for sure. So
Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of what I told him. I said, it's not like the old days. I mean, you might have low air pressure in your left rear tire and might cause it to miss. It's like crazy anymore. What could happen to some kind of sensor or anything? So it's like
there is a
they
cause and
just
yeah, there's a cause and effect for everything for sure. And I don't know what you bought as far as the brand of coil or the brand of spark plugs, but I've even seen in certain situations, if we're not running the right brand of stuff, I've seen it to where it would actually cause a problem. And so I've seen people go through and actually hit the nail on the head and got lucky and replaced the right component, but what they replaced it with wasn't the right
Yep.
part. And you talk about a headache,
Yeah.
man. Like I'm trying to figure out this problem, and I replaced this part initially, and it didn't do anything. So then I
Mhm.
replaced this and this and this, and then you go through and do an actual flow diagnosis on it, and it
Mhm.
comes back to the original part that you replaced,
Right.
that that it just wasn't the same, or didn't work out like it needed to be. And
Yes.
it was a huge headache. And so 100% agree with you as far as the I'm all for people having a understand of knowledge of their vehicle and the desire to want to work on it,
Right.
and the home garage aspect of things. I'm all for that, but these vehicles are just becoming so much more complex, and
Yes.
you just have to have the right diagnostic equipment to be able
Mhm.
to dive in and figure out what's going on. And you might get lucky. You might be able to replace
Yeah.
a couple of different components and get lucky and get it fixed. And
Right.
but then my next question to that is, okay, did we use the motorcraft parts that are required for that vehicle, or
Right.
was it something else that maybe will have an adverse effect of it long term down the road?
Yes.
So and when's
yeah,
this vehicle missing out, or do you know?
I just under load. It
Okay.
like it idles fine, and then when you start to take off, it shakes real bad.
And
And
do you know what codes they pulled out of it?
no, I don't. I
Gotcha.
don't.
Okay. Yeah.
They just told him that the number 2 cylinder was missing, and so then he took it to another son-in-law that has a little reader, and they read it, and they said, "Well, it must be the fuel pump." And I thought, God, you're going to spend a fortune just
Well,
replacing this, that, and ever,
yeah.
and not know what's really wrong.
Yeah, what we need to do, and I'll add it to your package for the call in today, but we need to run a diagnostic on that truck and figure out exactly, what's causing it. I'll throw a no charge diagnostic onto it to see exactly what the deal is with it, and what's going on with it, so we can be accurate in what we're
Yeah.
doing. I don't want to see you guys go out and put 2 or 3 different parts on it and still be in the exact same situation that you're in now. So, and then
Exactly.
one of the other things that I do want to talk about or make sure that you guys are aware of is, so it's obviously has the check engine light on, um, and it's running rough, but each time it misfires or it's running rough like that, you are sending unburned fuel down into the converter of the vehicle, the exhaust converter of the vehicle. Well, that unburned fuel will ignite in that converter, and basically it will melt the inner constraint, the inside of that converter, and essentially you can damage it. And converters are pretty expensive,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
so that's something that you want to be really aware of, and make sure that we're not running that truck, much more, if it's misfiring. There is
I'll be sure and tell it.
Yeah, that check engine light, if it's on steady, probably not as big of a deal. If it starts flashing, you definitely want to stop. Do not run
Okay.
that thing with the check engine light flashing, because that's when you're doing catalyst efficiency
Mhm.
damage control at that point. So for
I've
sure
got
on that.
another. I've got another question as well.
Okay.
So, if uh, it's like we replaced that coil and the spark plug, and of course the check engine light didn't go off. So does the check engine light, if you fix the problem, does the check engine light go off, or do you have to reset it?
The check engine light has to be reset. It eventually will go out but it has to go through so many drive cycles or ignition cycles. They have several different let's call them layers of codes or sequencings of codes. So you have important levels to different diagnostic trouble codes. And then based on what the importance level of that code is, will determine, what the criteria it is for one, the code to either come on, or two, the check engine light to come on, or two, the check engine light to go off. So obviously the more important the code, the sooner the light will come on when it detects the problem. And then also the more important the code, the longer the code will stay on after the problem is resolved. So it may take, 7, 8, 9, 10 ignition cycles, or not ignition cycles, drive cycles. And then depending upon each code, there's a certain criteria of what they consider a drive cycle to be. So sometimes it may just be, a key cycle, starting the engine, shutting it off, starting the engine, shutting it off. And sometimes it may be a whole drive cycle. So in other words, I got to start it up, get it to operating temperature. It has to see these parameters and then get shut back off. And then you got to do that same sequence, X number of times before the light will go back out. But so what your thought is, maybe that it's fixed, but the check engine light just hasn't reset yet, is what you were thinking?
No, I just wondered because
Yeah.
it's like right away after he put that stuff in there and started it, it was idling fine, but the check engine light didn't go out. And he said, "Well, must not have fixed it because the light's not out."
Yeah, that
But then when he drove it, it was still doing it.
still
So,
missing. Yeah, the fact that the
yeah,
light wasn't
right.
out as soon as he started it back up, that because it's gonna hold or retain the memory of that code until it sees so many successful trips that error or that problem didn't reoccur before it will clear it
Yeah.
out. So yeah, the fact that he
Okay.
just
Okay.
repaired it and
Yeah.
then started it back up like that wouldn't be the case as far as that light going out immediately for that. So
Yeah, I was always under the impression that you had to reset it with
yeah, correct.
that reader. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
And
boy,
then
I
and
sure appreciate the help.
yeah, that's the other thing too, is there's a huge difference between a reader and a scanner. So a code reader, you can read codes and it'll give you the description of a code, and then it'll also allow you to clear whatever codes are in it. But a couple things about readers is, um, so years ago, the government mandated that all manufacturers abide by an OBD2 uh, rule, and so there's different laws out there for each manufacturer. So basically, the connector in which every manufacturer has to have in order for a scan tool to plug into is all the same. There's criteria in where that connector is located, and then there's a list of X number of codes. Let's say it's 500 codes out there, and every manufacturer has
Shoot.
to have this exact same code, and then the description's the same, and it has to mean the same. So it's just kind of standard across all automotive. And if you're within those parameters, that's fine, and the code reader will read that. It's when you get to the manufacturer defined codes that are, potentially thousands of codes by each manufacturer, that are potentially what could be your problem in this vehicle, is that when you get to a code reader, it has no idea how to decipher that manufactured specific code. It's the only thing that scanner is designed to do is whatever is under the regulated guidelines. When you get outside of that, it's it doesn't know what to do, or how to act. And so you may be getting a code that is really not even actually the code that's in the vehicle, based on the equipment that you're using. And that's where you have to use a scanner, and even in most cases a factory scanner, that's designed specifically for that, make and model, to be able to pull up what's really going on with that vehicle.
What's the
Very good.
difference in price of
Oh
a
yeah.
of a scanner that you might find at O'Reilly's or a vehicle
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
You know, that's what I wondered that as I wondered that as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
the code a code reader
Mhm.
that you can go pick up a code reader for, you know, 300-400 bucks.
Right.
They have some nicer code readers out of there that'll give you a little bit of data parameter and stuff
Right.
like that. And you could probably spend upwards of, you know, probably $1,000 on a, kind of a code reader. Now a
Mhm.
scanner,
Yeah.
you know, the cheapest absolute scanner that you're going to get is, you know, $4,000, $5,000. You
Right.
can, I mean, we've spent up to $15,000
Yes.
on scanners before, and
Yes.
it's just all in ability and what you want to do and what you
Mhm.
want to see and what you
Mhm.
want to read. But
Mhm.
it's not even that. So you know, you get into modern vehicles now is okay. I've went and spent $15,000 for this scanner to be able to
Right.
do what I need to do, but now I have to go buy the manufacturer
Right.
supported software to
Yes.
connect to the scanner to be able to communicate with certain
Is that
vehicles as well.
Forescan?
Well,
Is that
yeah.
called
So
Forescan?
so each you know, Forescan for a lot of vehicles.
Mhm.
There's I was trying to think of Chrysler's. Oh, it's
Mopar version.
yeah.
Mm.
It was on the tip of my tongue,
Yeah.
but anyways, so yeah, you've got to go out and purchase the subset so to have the software to go along with the scanner, and so anyways, we're going to put a diagnostic on this thing and we'll get the check engine light dialed in and figure out exactly what's going on with it. And here's the thing, like I am really not trying to scare you from being a garage mechanic. I just want to make sure that you know what you're up for when you're doing something like that, and to do it the right way, and then
Yes.
to replace it with quality parts so that you don't have a long-term effect down the road that's going to hurt you is my main thing. So it's just about doing it right. So
Right. Right.
Sure.
very good.
I understand. I understand. I bought some like uh, disc brakes, the discs, you know, and bought the cheapest ones I could get. And sure enough, within 5,000 miles, they started wobbling too.
Back to pulsating again. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Just because you get what you pay for.
Very good. Hey Steve, I appreciate the call. Thanks for the conversation,
Yep.
and we'll get that package sent out to you. Okay.
Thank you very much, fellas.
Perfect.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Hey, we've got another caller coming through, so we'll get them patched through and see what's on their mind this morning. That was a great conversation by Steve, and
Yeah.
you know, again, I don't want to scare anybody
Right.
from being that person. So I was talking with a lady the other day, kind of about this very same thing, and she says, we were talking about oil changes and how much the works package was and stuff like that, and just even on our price versus competitors price, and we're extremely reasonable with that. And her comment was that, you know, I would just change it myself,
Yeah.
right? But like there's so many other things that we do in the works that's not just an oil and filter.
Yes.
Okay. You rotate the tires. We got a factory trained technician looking over the brakes, the suspension, all the steering. So, like, the value of having that technician look over the vehicle and
Right.
seeing what is, he sees that same make and model of vehicle so many more times in a day and knows
Yes.
what the fail points are and where to
Yes.
go look and
Mhm.
why to look at that
Mm.
to keep you from being on the side of the road. Right.
Right.
So, hey, let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Ruth. Ruth, you're on live with Under the Hood. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a question. I have a Ford Transit, a 2018 10-passenger van, and um, the battery went dead one time, and we jumped it, and everything was good. But now every time we drive, and like in the dark, it says there's a dinging, and it says low beam. Check the low beam light.
Low beam bulb
But
fault?
yes,
Mm.
Gotcha. And then as far as the lights themselves, they're operable?
yeah, there's nothing seems to be wrong when you look at it from the outside.
Hey, Ruth. I
Yes.
drive a transit van myself. Um,
Oh, okay.
and I too have the low beam bulb fault every time I turn on my
Oh.
headlights. Um,
What is that?
Did you happen to place an aftermarket light bulb in your headlight housing?
I'm not sure about it. I bought it from a dealership.
Okay. Okay. So I purchased an LED bulb that was an aftermarket bulb. I got it off of Amazon. And every time I turn my headlights on, it reads the low beam bulb fault. It's
Yeah.
because I didn't put a factory bulb
Put
in
the
it.
wrong bulb in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's probably a certain resistance that thing is looking for, and it's not seeing that specific resistance is what the deal is. So you had replaced a headlamp before?
Oh, I'm not sure. I bought it pre-owned from a Ford dealership.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. We'll add a diagnostic onto your package as well. And we'll take a look at that thing and see what's going on. But I'm going to say that there's probably, and even though maybe it hadn't had the bulb replaced or it is a factory one, if that filament is changed and the amount of resistance in it is not
Yes.
correct, I think it could be doing the same thing. So you could have a bulb that is, on its way out or getting ready to go out. So,
True.
but Ruth, we'll get a diagnostic added onto your package and take a look at that thing and figure out what's going on with it. Especially
Okay.
this time of year, coming
Yes.
into darker days, or darker sooner and then
Yeah.
darker in the morning. You definitely don't want to have a
Right.
headlight issue for sure. So we'll get that
Okay.
diagnostic added onto your package and take a look at that thing for you. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you guys so much.
Perfect, Ruth. You have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Okay.
Yes, you too.
All
All right. Bye.
Hey, what are the chances of you having a low beam
I know.
headlamp fault in a Transit?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Very, very, very interesting. Yeah. So you've been in a Transit you've been with BG 9 years.
Yeah.
So you were in a Econoline to begin with.
So when
Or
I
what
first
you-
started my BG journey, I drove a Chevrolet Express
Oh, yeah.
2500. It was a good van, but I'm fairly tall, and I bumped my head on the latch every time I went to get in that van. It wasn't until I switched to a Ford Transit van, a high back,
Yeah.
I can walk in that thing freely, and I'll never go back.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So-
understand that. Well, and then they put those EcoBoost in there, and the amount of freaking.
Oh, yes, yes,
It's like
they're
a drag
great.
car, right?
when there's no BG products in my van, it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Don't tell my boss I said that.
Very, very, very
Um,
peppy. Very good. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate you hanging out with me for this
course.
hour. It's so much fun. Sometimes I think this show could go 2 hours. I think for all the loyal listeners and the great chats that we had and stuff like that. So I'd like to go through and thank our sponsors, which is going to be so Go to Rent. If you're looking for a larger vehicle, need a 12, 15 passenger van. Cannot believe I'm saying this, but the holidays, they're going to be right here, right around the corner. So if you need something a little bit larger or something more fuel efficient for a road trip you have coming up, get with Stan here right inside Mel Hamilton Ford at Go to Rent. Then Big Corner Creative for all your marketing and advertising needs. They do it all down there: race car wraps, window tints, traditional media, social media, things like that. And then BG Products. I can't thank you guys enough for the partnership that we have, and just the amount of support that you give to us and these great products, manufactured backed products that we have right here inside Mel Hamilton Ford. So
Absolutely.
everybody have a great weekend, and we will catch you next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.